Well, our speaker this morning is Rick Dickerson. He's a resident of Leavenworth. Those of you who read your newsletter already saw. He graduated from Leavenworth High School in 1970. And occasionally, this is a slight detour, but occasionally we go to Leavenworth for the club meeting, and Edson's gone along with us a time or two. And as we pass, is Ebbly Field, is that the name of it? Edson says, I used to play against Leavenworth High School on this field. But that, he probably outdates you a year or two. But Rick was a Kansas State wrestling champion while he was in high school. He still lives in Leavenworth, but the company of which he's president is based out in California. He'll tell us about that and an invention that his company has come up with. His company was named as the 2017 Small Business Association Green Company of the Year. I got that right, didn't I? So without further ado, fellow Lions, let's give a real warm welcome to Rick Dickerson.
Good morning. First off, thanks for having me. I am Rick Dickerson in Leavenworth, Kansas. And a couple things before I get started. I set a bottle on each one of the tables. That's what I'm going to focus on this morning. The bottle holds 60 pills. I'll explain more of that later. Any chance I get on mention, it's free. Free. Won't cost anyone a dime. So, what I had going here earlier, I had Zach get me some water out of your faucet. This is your tap water. I put the food color in there just so to show you what happens. And here's the end result. It distills the water, and it's the only way to get pharmaceuticals out of your water is through distilling it, as of right now. So, we are the American Small Business Championship winner from Sam's Club, and there were 11,000 entries in that contest. We were very fortunate.
Wow.
A lot of work. It's a brilliant idea, and Sam's Club thought so also. In 2017, FedEx had a contest. We were an Outstanding Business of the Year, and here we are in Washington, D.C. receiving the award. That was quite an honor also, because there was quite a few entries in that also, and it was sponsored by FedEx and the Sam's Club. And so for them to recognize us and to be the winners nationally, that was quite an honor for us. Here we are. We met the new governor, Laura Kelly, in Topeka. She took one of our bottles, and she's reviewing the product and she wants to get it implemented in Kansas. So that'd be a big plus for us also to get her back in. As you know, you are the Lions Club, and this is your mission statement. You already know it, and I'm learning it. Your project with your glasses, that's quite an honor. Project with the flags, that's an honor. Anything that helps the community, that's what we're after. Hopefully we can partner together with this and make it a citywide project. We won the award for two reasons. As you can see, I could read this, but I'll let you read it for yourself. Our main goal is to get the pharmaceuticals out of the water before it gets in the water. Before you just throw it in trash, flush it down the toilet, put it down the sink, garbage disposal, however you get rid of it, but eventually ends up in the water, the landfill, and it seeps down into the water. Here's a short little video.
My business is about removing pharmaceuticals, over-the-counter medications, and vitamins from the drinking water and protecting the environment for the future of our children and grandchildren.
So what's in the water? Everything from acetaminophen and ibuprofen to mood stabilizers, antibiotics, angina, heart, as well as cholesterol drugs, and even sex hormones.
We found that people wanted convenience and an easier way to dispose of their pharmaceuticals by having this bottle and placing it in their home and in the medicine cabinet. The activated charcoal and the liquid safely neutralizes and destroys them right in the bottle. What are we leaving behind for our children and grandchildren? And Stat-Medicament-Disposal Corporation impacts the community by protecting the drinking water.
That was Larry Kennemore. He's the founder and CEO of the company. And he lives in Siloam Springs, Arkansas. And he's trying to get this implemented down in Arkansas. I'm trying to do it in Kansas and Missouri. We had a guy out in California. And we're trying to get it going in New York. So we've been pretty busy. It's fairly new, but it's been in the works for 8 years. So it's not really new, but here's another little.
Hi, my name is Claudia, and I live in Fayetteville, Arkansas. My husband recently passed away, and I was left with a bag full of prescription drugs. This bottle is very easy to use, and you can use it for vitamins, prescription drugs, over-the-counter drugs, things that would be very dangerous going down into our sewer system. I'm going to show you how easy it is to use now. All you do is take off the top and put your prescription pill or vitamin, whatever you have to dispense. Hi, my name is Claudia, the cat.
Sorry.
And she a little bit, or inverted. And that pill is now neutralized.
That's Kim Walker. She's our minority stockholder, and she's the international tax lawyer out of San Francisco, California. She's very adamant about this program, and she's doing her part. Okay, what I'm about to say is, like I mentioned before, this is free. I'm not here trying to get any money from anyone. This program is totally free. It won't cost a penny. This is it's going to be no reflection on Overland Park's water because this is a national problem. It's everywhere. So it's just not Overland Park, Lenexa. It's nationwide. Okay, here are some of the facts that
from the nonprofit Environmental Working Group finds more than 170 million people are exposed to in their drinking water.
Well, good morning. So here in Brady, Texas, a lot of people are not turning on the tap. Instead, they're reaching for the bottled water. They don't trust what's in the city's water supply.
Other communities may not be aware of their risk. That's why EWG built its own database where members of the public can do a simple zip code search to find out what contaminants are in their drinking water, something EWG's Alex Formusis says the EPA should have done.
The EPA and the Safe Drinking Water Act specifically have largely failed the American people.
I believe we should be getting it from the tap, but that's not the reality today. Hopefully in the future.
Now, we asked Hartnett White for her response to those criticisms, but we were told she isn't doing any interviews. Also, the EPA did not respond to our questions. They did not get back to us with their responses.
The EWG, that's the national website, ewg.org. You go on that website, type in your zip code, it'll tell you all the pharmaceuticals in your water.
Would you repeat that?
ewg.org. Put in your zip code, and list all the pharmaceuticals in your water that they test for.
And if you find any other chemicals that, you know, like, are not good for you, how do you respond to that?
Later I'll show you. We do our own tests. The EPA only tests for certain drugs. We test for quite a few. We do our own folk test, and when we present our presentation to the cities and city councils, we'll have that list for you and we'll pass it out then. But the EPA, they only test for certain drugs. You'd be amazed at what's in your water.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Here's a few of the,
Arsenic.
this is what they test for, you know. Like it says at the top, it does not include pharmaceuticals. So earlier when they said sex hormones and all these other little drugs that are in there, they are in the water.
What are trihalomethanes?
I'm not a doctor. It causes it causes all sorts of cancer.
Right, but what are they? For what?
That I don't know.
Okay.
There's 50 million drugs out here. I don't know, but they are. When we do our tests, those are things that come up, and this is their test. You know, and we do a more thorough test than what the EPA does because they're only required to test for certain chemicals.
The first one.
Here's one for Overland Park. A brief little. Now arsenic. I know you all heard of arsenic. That's a real bad one. It's in most everyone's water. And the only known way to get that out is through the distilling, as of right now. They're working on other projects, but as of right now, the only way to get rid of it is distilling. And the reason they don't do it city-wise is because it costs too much. You know, to distill all the water in the city, it just costs way too, it's too cost prohibitive. So when it says the city, the government is meeting all their requirements, they are for what they test for. This is a kind of an abstract of a study that the government's doing. The effects is just, it's horrendous, you know, but like I said, the government, the EPA, when it comes to pharmaceuticals, they're kind of limited now because here's a big one here. What do the hospitals do with their old medicines? You know, you can use your imagination. You know, they throw them down the drain, put them in the trash.
You know, they sell them to the patients.
Well, they sell them to the patient, but if you need a 1 cc medicine, and it comes in a 2 cc tube, once they give you your 1 cc, they can't use it. So what do they do with it? Flush it down the toilet.
They do?
Well, not down the toilet.
Not now.
I thought they have boxes and stuff now.
They have boxes and stuff now, but I'm gonna show you that later also, what they do with their stuff. August 21st of this year, the new law is coming out. They have to get rid of, they have to legally dispose of their pharmaceuticals and account for it through the EPA. So any hospital, nursing home, veterinary clinic, dentist, anything with pharmaceuticals, they have to report to EPA what they're doing with how they're disposing of them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, that's a requirement. That's a major one there also. Once it's in the water, it's in the water. We all drink water. There's no way around it. We have to drink water. And this prior, it shows you some of the stuff that's in the water. Stickler we're working on now is how does this affect the kids? Kids, grandkids, great-grandkids. If we don't fix it now, it's going to have an adverse effect worse than what it is now. They haven't done any studies on kids because, they just haven't had time to. Like I said, as of August 21st, that new rule goes into effect. Required, no way around it.
Okay, Doug, you said that all the healthcare facilities will need help. What do you mean by that?
Well, they have to dispose of them. They have to legally dispose of them, and what are they doing now? Some of them box them up and save them, and for the drug take-back days, they might partner with some other company and ship them out. But effective August 21st, they have to account for every last little pill, every ounce, anything they use, they have to account for. Here's a I should go back to 18. We're providing a service that's totally free. We want to branch out to hospitals, nursing homes, et cetera, et cetera. This bottle we also have a 5-gallon kiosk that we're going to put in the hospitals. So when they walk past the nursing station, rather than put it in the cabinet and lock it up until later, as soon as you are done with it, pour it in the bottle, it neutralizes it immediately, just like in this bottle here, this jar here. So they won't have to worry about it. As soon as it's in the bottle, it's eventually neutralized in less than 15 minutes.
And then after it's neutralized, what do you do with it?
Well, if you send it back to us, we'll send it up to Covanta in Indianapolis and they'll burn it for electricity. You can pour it down the drain, but if you want to be 100% sure, send it back to us. There's a barcode on each one of these bottles, and that designates an address. We partner with the Postal Service, so when we send it to your house, it have your barcode for your address, and so we know exactly where it came from and exactly how much medicine is in that, a pharmaceutical is in the bottle, because we know what it weighs when we send it to you, and we weigh it when we get it back. Same thing would happen with hospitals with the 5-gallon kiosk. We know how much it weighs. The bottle will hold 60,000 pills. So when you have the drug take-back day, you see all the boxes and bags that people bring in. That's counting everything: packaging, boxes, bottles. What we do is actual medicine. It's the actual pharmaceuticals that's in the bottle in the container.
So this one jar
Will hold 60 pills, or cough medicine. So when you put the medicine and pills in it, shake it up, and they start neutralizing like it does in here. Zach saw me put 2 pills in here before we started, so hopefully it'll be dissolved before we leave, almost immediately. It takes, our kiosk, it holds those, if you have the big old horse pills some people take, I call them horse pills, big capsules, you just pour it right down the tube, it goes down into the 5-gallon container, neutralizes it.
Is this proprietary, the
Yes,
chemical that's in here?
There's only one chemical in there, is activated charcoal, and we have some other stuff in there that's part of our patent. This is patented. So it's 8 years in working. It's a little bit longer than that, but the last 8 years we've been pushing, trying to get this manufactured, however you want to call it.
So, excuse me, how do you get income from that to pay your wages?
Okay, glad you asked that. Normally people wait till last. Back in 2016, the big pharmaceutical companies, they lost a lawsuit in the U.S. Supreme Court highest court in the land. There's no way around it. They are mandated, they have to pay for all recovery, how you want to call it. They have to pay for all of it, mandated. And so that's why it won't cost the citizens a penny. If the cities will pass an ordinance, the cities will bill pharma and pharma will pay us. But it's all totally free to the taxpayer. Won't cost you nothing except your time to pass the ordinance. Once the ordinance is passed, it's called a end of life ordinance. Now, if you need help talking to your mayor or city councils, we have some samples that you can give to your city attorneys and they can work it out. But pharma is responsible for every last dime.
Based on the Toxic Substances Control Act. Since 1976, EPA has issued regulations to control only 5 existing chemicals determined to present an unreasonable risk. That is 5 out of almost 80,000 existing chemicals. If EPA has adequate data and wants to protect the public against known risks, the law creates obstacles to quick and effective action. A 2005 study found 287 different chemicals in the cord blood of 10 newborn babies. Our kids are getting steady infusions of industrial chemicals before we even give them solid food.
In the government protecting their water supply, and that's often not the case.
One big concern might be fetuses that in effect are living in water. So if that fetus gets exposed to a chemical, it's constantly drinking its amniotic fluid.
You don't stop and think about it, but that's what happens.
What about those of us who have a filtration system in our water?
Filtration works, but it doesn't. And I'll explain that later in the video. Bottled water, same thing. We have a little something about bottled water. Bottled water, distilled water, it's still good, but when you see the video, you'll say,
A new study has found that there are more trace amounts of pharmaceutical drugs in the drinking water than previous research suggests. Researchers from the Environmental Protection Agency analyzed samples of water from 50 large wastewater treatment facilities, testing for a variety of 56 different chemical compounds, including pharmaceutical drugs like oxycodone, prescription blood pressure medication, and over-the-counter medication like Tylenol and ibuprofen. Over half of the water samples reportedly contained 25 or more of the chemicals being tested for, with blood pressure medicine being the most highly concentrated. Other studies have shown the negative effects of certain chemicals on animals that live in the water. Shane Snyder, an expert on the effects pharmaceutical drugs are having on water supply from the Arizona Laboratory for Emerging Contaminants at the University of Arizona, said estrogen and endocrine disruptors. And here's a case where there's compelling evidence that it has an effect on aquatic life and still nothing has been done. Some officials have downplayed the negative health effects of ingesting a cocktail of chemicals in the drinking water, and the possible dangers aren't typically addressed by the Food and Drug Administration unless they are extraordinary circumstances.
Here's bottled water. We think it's better than tap water in a way it is, but they did a study. If they bottle the water here and ship it somewhere, it's in a truck. Anything above 88 degrees, the chemicals in that plastic seeps into the water. So you're drinking the stuff that's in the plastic. And like I said, if you drink bottled water, it's better for you than tap water, but still there's effects for that also.
And it's from the plastic.
It's from the plastic.
The bottle itself.
Yeah.
And if you buy it at the store, you don't know if it's hit the 88 degree.
Well, it had hit, well, we assumed it hit 88 degrees in a truck. If it comes from California to wherever it's shipped to or where it comes from, if it's in the back of a truck, unless it's refrigerated, if it's over 88 degrees, that plastic, you just, you can call it deteriorate, whatever you want to call it, seeps into the water.
Permeate.
Perfect permeates, there you go. But,
So what type of bad chemicals come from the plastic?
If you have cancer, that's the main thing they say, get rid of anything plastic in your house.
You know, there's different kind of bottles, so I don't know particularly what chemicals in it, but whatever's in the plastic seeps into the water and that's what you're drinking.
And unbottled water, I mean, it's actually much less regulated than tap water, so that's another issue.
Notice he's from water.
That's what I'm saying, he knows as much as he speaks.
What did you just say? I didn't hear something.
I mean, bottled water is much less regulated than tap water, so, and what they do is, I mean, a lot of them you buy, they just run it through one more reverse osmosis treatment, then bottle it and sell it to you for a whole lot more than what they pay for it.
So think about that next time you pick up like I do, a 36 or 48 bottle case of water. You know, the distiller works. That's the only way to get it out of there, get the chemicals out of the water. So what is clean water? Once again, here's my major statement thing. There's no taxpayer money involved. All you have to do is get your city council to pass an ordinance. And farmers are responsible for any cleanup. I call it cleanup, for everyone, however you want to phrase it. Here we're getting into the take-back programs. Like I said, it's twice a year, 4 hours a day, 4 hours a year, from 10 to 2, twice a year. So if you have medicine, you take the CVS, all different drop-off spots, but what they do with it, I'll show you here in a little bit. What they've been doing has not worked. Here's the opioid deaths. It's going up and up and up. Almost every day you hear something about deaths from opioids. You know, and it's a major, major, major problem. Closer to home, here's Kansas. Kansas is going up. Sad to say, I believe Kansas is number 5 in the nation, population-wise.
Now that has nothing to do with the water.
It has nothing to do with water.
Okay.
It's just opioids. You know, people getting taking medicine from your grandparents' medicine cabinet. However they get the medicine, steal it.
And it's probably higher than that, if that's 2016.
Yeah, it's higher. Like I said, Kansas as of, I don't know if the figure was 2018, but Kansas is ranked number 5 in the country. You know, we're not one of the bigger states, but we're way up there as far as the opioid deaths. Pratt, Kansas is the worst county in Kansas.
Pratt?
Pratt.
Is there any reason?
That's down by West Wichita on Highway 54.
That's based on per
capita. Yeah, per capita. Like I say, Kansas isn't a big state compared to some of the other big states, but percentage-wise, it's way up there as far as the opioid death.
Have they found the reason why?
That I don't know. Like I said, if you have the pills, you take the pills, and if you don't know what you're doing, which you probably don't, the end result is you die. You know, and that's unfortunate, but.
So on the left it says age adjusted.
Well,
you know, could you explain that a little bit? Is
that I don't know if it's age adjusted. If it's there's senior citizens that die from opioids, right. Overdosing. Kids in school, you know, they get depressed, however, whatever happens, and take the pills. Go to grandma's house. They like going to grandma's house because they know grandma has a lot of pills in the medicine cabinet. Go over there and steal the pills. You know, you don't know what they are. You just take them because grandma took them, must be good. Whatever the reason is, you know, the end result is it's a major crisis. You And here, one of the things that we are pushing, the drug take-back days, boxes in drug stores and stuff. When the police get them, you have no control over it. You know, they don't know what's in the boxes when people go in there and drop stuff off. Police go in and pick it up, take it back where they take it to, and there's always that problem.
Bella Vista has all kinds of those people.
Okay, now, that last one there about officers stealing from the take back, is there any evidence of that?
Oh, yeah, we have pictures. They have cameras set up, you know, so they catch them on camera. And how do you explain, well, what do you come here after hours, open up the box, taking out stuff? The video speaks for itself.
Okay.
You know, and why are you doing it? You know, because major problem. One that hit close to home here, we're not saying it happens in Overland Park because, like I said, it happens everywhere.
Afraid to drink the water.
There's a nice little story there. Well, it's not a nice story, but yeah, it's major. With our program, like I said, if it doesn't get to the drop back box, take back box, that'll help solve that problem. In your home, as soon as you put the pills in, it's neutralized. It comes with a return bag that we, like I said, the barcode is your address. We send you a bag so you can return it to us, postage free. So whenever you fill a bottle, send it back to us, and we'll send you another one. So you'll always have a bottle. You know, if you have pills now, if you need more than one bottle, let us know. We'll send you 2, 3, 4, how many you need to get rid of.
Probably need 10.
Well, we
Still
can
with
get
those 5-gallon buckets.
I need a kiosk.
The kiosk, well, we don't know for sure exactly how many to hold because we haven't, but if you factor in the 6-ounce bottle here, and you'll extrapolate out to whatever, 5 gallons, you know, it's quite a few.
I have a quick question when you're talking about the bottles. So you have to do exactly 60 or is
Oh, no,
it just
no,
around?
just when it gets full.
Because I didn't know if it stopped the neutralization.
When it gets full,
or
when it gets
whatever.
full, when it gets
Okay.
full.
Okay.
But we've done our test with 60, like I said, plus cough medicine, you know, so the charcoal in there absorbs it. Larry Kennemore, the founder and CEO, he was a retired paramedic from San Diego, California. You know, so when he went out there for kids, you know, or people overdose on drugs, they used to give them charcoal, you know, make them drink, eat the charcoal, however, and so it absorbs all the stuff in your stomach so you can, you know,
Get rid of it?
get rid of it. That's the one way to put it. And so when it comes up, it all comes up together. And so that's why he came up with the idea about the charcoal in the bottom.
If I pour this on my hand, it'll be okay?
Yeah, it's good. I wouldn't.
I just need to know.
Because we try to tell people, you can actually drink this, but why would you? You know, like I said, they've done tests on our bottles where they tried to wash the drugs back out and see if they can reuse the drugs in our container. It can't be washed out. So we've already done that part of it. So once it's in there, it's in there.
One of Ken's jobs used to be testing water treatment plants.
Well, you remember in 1970, President Nixon drank the effluent from the sewage treatment plant, so we're spoiled in America. We're in good shape.
That's one way to put it. That's one way to put it. Here's one close to home, it's up by the airport, Flatwoods. I went and spoke to the police chief. As soon as we found out about that, I went and spoke to him. He's as you say, it was on his watch, whatever you can call it, but that hit home right up the street, just right here. I live in Leavenworth, go across the bridge and go there, it's 15 minutes. You know, so it's happening everywhere. And that's Flatwoods and that's Lake Wacomas, that small little area, but he felt compelled to steal. You know, that's even in small communities that's happening. Here's one on camera. You can't lie your way out of that because it's got you on camera. The temptation is just too great, man. If you're there by yourself, you can do what you want. There's no control over what goes in that box in the take-back days. You don't know what's in it, how much is in it. You know, they show pictures of, well, we collected 2,000 pounds. Well, that's counting the bottles, packaging, everything else. It's not counting the pills. With us, you know exactly how much medicine or pharmaceuticals you have in the bottle.
The Overland Park Police Department was right next to our eyeglass environmental.
Well, see, they have,
Collecting, like,
I don't know if it's a requirement, they always have 2 people, 2 policemen at each. Yeah, 2, at least 2, because I went to Baser, Tonganoxie, Lawrence, and the 2 stores in Leavenworth. Not this one, but the last one, take back days, just to see how they actually handle it. You know, you bring your stuff in, drop it off, they throw it in the box. You know, we got a picture on here, you know, the one recently, 2 weeks ago, they boxed the stuff up, you know, taping, it looks, that's real impressive, you know, real impressive. But if you had one of our kiosks, all that stuff on that one skid would fit in that 5-gallon bucket. You know, so it looks good, it's impressive, but it's not solving the problem.
What do they do with it?
I don't know how many times they changed their truck out, but they filled out the back end of a smaller SUV.
Yeah, some of them have done
the SUVs are driving around town, so they filled that up.
Yeah, some of them, they like say their report says 28,000 pounds. But see, that includes everything. You know,
Right,
so,
right. And people are just driving by with bags full.
Yeah. You know, if you wait for the take-back day, let's say most of them you take them to drugstores or to drop off police stations where they have the bins and drop the stuff off. But a lot of people are just sort of are conscious about better ways of doing it.
Yeah.
You know, if you take the time to put it in a bag, if you had a bottle in your house, when you walk, put it in the bag, pour it in the bottle. We're trying to make it convenient for everybody in every house.
What do the police usually do with the bottles?
Well, I don't know.
I think they said that they were going.
I haven't been to one, so I can't comment.
Money
We all have our thoughts.
Lower our taxes.
They say they incinerate them.
Well,
Yeah, I asked them and they said,
that's what we do with ours. We send it to Govana in Indianapolis, and they burn it. I think the minimum is 1,200 degrees, so there's no wash, or whatever you call that stuff to it. It doesn't seep into the air. So if it's over a certain degree, everything's burned, and they use it for electricity. So they run the electricity on that.
can I make a suggestion on your reclaim bottle here? Have a child-proof cap on.
Doesn't matter if it's regular or not. Well, we'll take that under advisement.
Huh?
We'll take that under advisement. Because if you drink it,
It won't do anything to
it
you?
won't make you sick. You'll throw it back up. But
Okay. I just was thinking.
that's a good idea. Good idea. But if they get into the medicine cabinet for that, hopefully they haven't taken the pills prior to that. You know, so
Sure.
like I said, what I'm interested in, there's no accountability from these take-back days. You know, if you decide you want to take a box, there's no accountability. Like I said, they go by the weight. Like I said, it includes all the packaging and everything else, so it's not an actual accurate count of what the amount of pharmaceuticals they're taking back. That's a picture of one of the pictures they took for the take-back days inside the box. You know, so look at all the packaging.
So I just want to mention, I don't know how accurate this is anymore, but the kids see that picture in the lower right. It's a rainbow, right? So they have like rainbow parties.
Yeah.
Just grab your pills, whatever, take them, rainbow parties. So you don't know what that's.
You don't know what you're taking. You know that's it's kind of sad, but that's what kids do. You know.
I mean, hell, if they're eating Tide Pods.
Drinking cinnamon or whatever.
Yep.
May I interrupt a moment, please? Looking at all those bottles and all, the Tonganoxie Lions Club has a project where you can give them empty medicine bottles. They'll, if you haven't already scraped your own label off, they'll scrape the label off, or if you have, they'll clean them up, get that goopy stuff off, and then they have an arrangement with somebody that those bottles are used. They're sent with like on mission trips, where doctors need a way of transporting prescriptions. Those bottles cannot be reused in the United States. But, it's a service project to that club, and it's one that we could participate in, bringing our bottles here, and then get them over to Tonga and let them continue their processing.
Well, ASPCA, the Animal Protective Services, do use prescription bottles for when dogs come in and need prescriptions. That way they can, you take your labels off of them and stuff too, but they can put a label on there with the dog's name or description of what it is the dog takes. That way they don't have to buy bottles to use for the dogs coming in. Because we used to collect them at our church for that. So, yeah. It's amazing how many bottles you collect.
Just throw them away.
Like I said, main thing up here, free. Free. There's no reason for you not to do it.
Okay.
Like I said, a 5-gallon bottle for the hospitals and nursing homes, et cetera, et cetera. October, April 1st and 2nd, I was down in St. Petersburg, Florida for the National Associated Drug Diversion Program at Johns Hopkins University. And they are very, very high on this program. It's a major problem, and they're trying to figure out a way to help solve it. And they're a major hospital.
When my mother died about 10 years ago, I took a bunch of her pharmaceutical items down to the drugstore, and I asked them what I should do with them. I thought they'd just take them and dispose of them with theirs, and they wouldn't. And they didn't know what to do with them. And I was kind of persistent. I was talked to them 2 or 3 times because I wondered what they did with theirs. And I think finally they said, well, put them in coffee grounds and bury them or something.
That's what they were doing. And like I said, it's still in the ground. It's not neutralizing them, it's still in the ground and it seeps into the water. You know, it smells good, but you know, that's about as far as it goes. Like I said, Johns Hopkins, it was a nice little trip. And all the hospitals, like I said, some of the hospitals said, well, we want one at every nursing station. Well, some of them say, well, that bottle is good for people. 5 gallons is too big for us. So, like I said, we're
divided up.
We'll find a way to accommodate everybody, because like I said, it's free. If it's convenient for you, it'll make it convenient for us. Major problem here. Like I said, drug take-back day twice a year, 10 to 2. Less than 7% of the population takes part of it. That's a study that, you know, they're pushing that figure, and they wanted it to go higher and higher and higher. But if you got to wait twice a year to take your medicine back, then you know, some people don't have time. That's why they have a big bag full, because it's not convenient. This bottle will be convenient for everybody. We're starting to go into schools. If you teach the kids, they learn early, and they take the stuff home and give it to the parents. The parents ask questions, and that's how some parents learn about it, through the kids. Because if they teach it in the schools, where's my service line? Throw that one there. Like I've been stressing, why in every home? Because every home, no matter who you are, you might have medicine, even vitamins. You take some vitamins and you through taking the vitamins, you don't want to take them anymore. Rather than throw them in the trash, put them in a bottle. We'll do a study. It's 3 months, 6 months, and a year, so we can report back to EPA exactly how much we've accumulated and kept out of the system. So starting August 21st, every facility has to do that. They have to be accountable to the EPA. There's been several cities, you know, implemented this so far. Like I said, I'm in Kansas and Missouri. I'm branching out. Yeah. Free word is free.
Yeah.
That's, I should read that out loud, but it's more effective if you read it yourself.
How long are those opioids good for? How many years? I mean, I think most people probably do that. If you get some and you don't use them all, you just keep them around forever.
That's, my wife has diabetes, you know, so she's got a whole bunch of pills. You know, it's, you know, once you get a bottle, fill the bottle, send it back. That'll solve that problem. But it's a work in progress. And unless the city passes the ordinance, you know, we don't sell the bottle. We probably could, but we don't sell the bottle.
Well, usually when you get a prescription pill, it has an expiration date on it. And usually it's a year from the date that you bought it, because by law they can't give you a prescription that expired. Like if you buy over-the-counter meds, it'll say on the label or the box when it expires. And so they're not allowed to fill prescriptions with medicines that are expired. So there is an expiration date on it, but you can still safely take those medicines after an expiration date. And opioids probably last, the active ingredient, it goes down the length of time farther you get away from that expiration date. But there's still active ingredients in that for quite a few years.
Yeah, just like your food at home, you know, like your milk used by such and such a date. Well, what if you don't? You gotta pour it out. You know, that's not how it works. You know?
It's sours.
It's sour.
Bread, but not right away, not right at that
bread,
date.
you know,
Yeah.
if mold's on the bread, throw it out. But if it expires today, you can't eat it tomorrow. You know,
Yeah.
well, it's just something to go by.
Yeah, and I had knee surgery 2 years ago. I still have it in my cupboard. So I'm bad.
Do you, got a question about recycle companies. Do you have any collection of drugs there?
No.
I think that would be a big source.
Well, like I said, they'll pad the figures because, like I said, they'll take the whole bottle, the boxes, the packaging, the shrink wrap. They weigh the whole stuff, you know. So any figure they give you is going to be inflated anyway. But same token is what they're doing is helpful, but the figures they're putting out are not accurate. You know, and like I said, if only 7% of the population participates in it, then
I think there would be a great find there.
So who was the first city?
I'm in California. Why do I forget that?
Did you mean in Kansas? Did you mean?
We have a guy in California, Kevin Walker. Him and his wife out there. He's implementing it in California. Like I said, it's a big state, you know, so it's taking a little time. But the name of the city, it's on here. I just skipped over it.
Look like Alameda or something.
Yeah, I think that's what it said. Overland Park can be a part of it. Contact your mayor, you know your mayor, you go to city council meetings. I go to city council meetings up in Leavenworth, you know, and find out a whole lot of interesting stuff. You know, everything they do is by a vote. Vote, you know, so we gotta get your city council involved, and if you need us to come give a presentation, we're gonna set up a webinar. So when it's all the pharmaceutical companies, like a webinar, sign in, watch the webinar. I don't. There we go, it's a community approach. Like I said, we want to put one in every home and household. would help you guys. If you know your city council, go to city council meetings, have them contact us. Our website, we have 50 million videos on there that better explains in more detail. We can take your time and read it at your own, look at it at your own leisure. And any questions, feel free to contact us by email or phone call. And with that,
Thank you.
now, I was going to have a drawing for the bottle. Does anyone want the bottle to go home and test it?
Yeah.
Well, I only have two. I only have two.
There's one there, one here. And then I have to mail this back to you?
Well, you can either throw it, well, I said throw it in the trash. I didn't have, I don't have the bags. I'm working on that. We're doing new bottles now. So when I do my next presentations, I'll have the returnable bags with me. So.
It's just comments so people can go home and comfortably drink water. I mean, we all agree keeping the pharmaceuticals out of the streams and rivers is very important, and we do stuff like this also to encourage people to not flush them down their toilets. But we do treatment, and we use powdered activated carbon in our treatment process, along with other things. And we're actually putting in a $40 million, I went about 5 slides ago, they talked about it's very expensive to remove things like this. And we're spending about $40 million to put in a new ozone plant, which does a very good job of breaking down the chemical compounds that are in these pharmaceuticals to remove it from, to make it inert in the water supply. So it is being done, and the first phase of that is coming on next month, and it'll be totally in by next summer. So we're doing things now so to get it out, but ozone's a very good process for removing pharmaceuticals. But the best thing to do is keep it out of the water.
Keep it out of the water. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you heard me mention that because, like I said, $40 million. How many small cities have $40 million?
And we're fortunate that we can do it. Not everybody can do it.
So where's the treatment ozone plant going to be?
I think it's at our treatment plant up on Holiday Drive.
Oh, okay.
If we want to order a bottle, how do we
We
go about doing that?
we aren't selling
Those
it.
of us that didn't win a bottle.
I'm a stickler for, initially we were going to sell the bottles, initially. But like I said, we're less than 7% of the